the Deputy Director at the Bureau of Environmental Services in Portland, Oregon. I'm here today in Portland, and I'm super excited to be here today and to be kicking off this change management team. We're standing here on the shoulders of giants. There's been a lot of work that's happened over the past couple of years, and certainly Scott and Cello are the force behind that. And I'm just really grateful and very enthusiastic to be here today and to be building off of that great work. And change management, what a timely topic. Cello and Scott have assured me that this is one of the more popular topics, and the folks that have agreed to participate in this are definitely change champions, and that you're up for this task. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of at my threshold of change management. We've got political upheaval. My mayor will be reelected. We've got a different commissioner. We've got tear gas and ash on the street. I've got employees recovering from COVID. We've got furloughs, and we're mopping up from a reorg we did in February. It's like, enough, there's a lot going on. But here we are, here we are. And for Portland, it's 7:30 in the morning, or West Coast, 7:30 in the morning. And I'm supercharged to be here. This is an opportunity to support each other and to know that we're not in this alone, and that we've got a lot to share and a lot to offer each other. So this is a really, I think, a very unique opportunity for us, despite and I guess in response to everything that's going on. So super happy to have you. So I see a lot more folks are joining us now. And please feel free to turn on your video at the beginning. What I'd like to ask folks is to consider I'm inviting you to turn your video on at the beginning of the meeting and at the end to say goodbye. Certainly there are often, challenges and things that you can't do that, and I completely respect that. But as we get to know each other, it's just nice to be able to connect a face and a voice, and to be engaged, and to know that we're all here and present. There's so many things that are, pulling on our attention. And again, I respect everyone's circumstances, but to the degree you can, when you're speaking, have the video on, and when you join the group and say good morning and say goodbye, I would love to see you and to make that connection. So to the degree that you're comfortable, please do that. So I am going to, let's see, first I'll go over the agenda. I'm going to share my screen. The format for Teams for UAIM is a little bit different than it is for me in Portland. So let's see if I can do this. I thought I had it set up, but now here we go. When I look in Teams, I don't see my desktop for this PowerPoint.
Would you like me to flash it up?
Let's see if I can. Yeah, I'm just not being given. Well, let's see if I do it this way. Yeah, I think you better, Cello.
Okay.
So, I get a security, when I try to open it up in the Teams platform for UAIM, I get a security block. Yeah, and when I try to share it to my desktop that's not in UAIM, it doesn't show.
Okay, so if you could maybe just click on the test to unshare, just to make sure the recording goes. We go back to the photos for everybody.
Okay, did I do that?
We're looking at your Teams right now. What we see is your screen for Teams. We don't see the screen for the PowerPoint presentation.
Got it. How about that?
So let me.
You did.
So let me.
Okay, do you got it now?
I believe that people should be able to see it.
Excellent, thank you. So here we are, the first meeting, and of course we can expect some technical challenges and some glitches, so thank you for your patience while we did that. Again, working in two different Teams platforms, I haven't worked out all the kinks yet, but I will, and Cello and I will figure this out. So I'll start by just going over, actually, Cello, this is the wrong presentation. Can you open mine?
Okay, let me just do that. just a second.
Sure.
I'll put this on top as soon as I. So you sent it to me via email, is that correct?
No, I uploaded it on the team site.
Okay, okay.
It's got my initials DU at the end.
Okay, okay. I didn't. I will have that up in just one moment.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, Cello, let's go around and do introductions while we're waiting for the agenda to come up. So I'll go ahead and start. And what I'll ask everyone to do is to give your name and the organization that you're with and why you're interested in this work, your intent in being a part of this team. And then if you wouldn't mind just saying what time it is. I know we've got people from all over the country. So I'll start. Donnie Chiyama. Deputy Director of the Bureau of Environmental Services in Portland. I'm a landscape architect by training and have been involved in lots of organizational change and change management in the city and in the Bureau, and I'm super honored and grateful to be here. So, and it's a little after 7:38 here in Portland. So I'm going to go ahead and call the names so that we can do this in order. Yosef, do you want to go first? Or next?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yosef Tabeta. I am the acting bureau head for the Bureau of Water and Wastewater in the City of Baltimore's Department of Public Works. By education, I'm a civil/environmental engineer and mostly spent my time in the private sector and been at this job for about a year and a half. And it is 10:38 a.m.
Great, thank you so much. And I've got today's garbage pickup day in my neighborhood, so I have some dumpsters in the background. Sorry about that, but I'll try to mute when I can. Chris, do you want to go next? Chris Wu?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Chris Wu. I'm from Metro Vancouver, Canada. It's 7:39, same time zone as Dawn. I'm the asset management lead for Metro Vancouver. I'm so excited to join this group, and I am practicing change management in asset management and capital planning and other programs that I'm managing. So I love to hear what others are doing and how I can improve my work. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chris. Jessica.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Dezar, Asset Management Program Director at Loudon Water in Virginia. Similar to Chris, I'm implementing a lot of programs as part of the Asset Management Program, which is only a couple of years old here at Loudon Water, and I am implementing a lot of change, and I want to make sure I'm doing it well. So I am here to learn. Thanks. It's 10:48 or 10:40 in the morning.
Don?
Are you on mute, Don? Yeah, Don's on mute.
I'm sorry. Hi, Makita. Can you go next?
Yes, my name is Makeda Weber, and I'm with DC Water. I'm a program manager in our People and Talent Division. This is our lovely plant behind me. And we are managing a lot of our organizational development and change initiatives at the moment, especially in regards to both cultural change, behavioral change, and also a lot of technologies that we're upgrading. So we're in the middle of some systems implementations and things like that. So how do we get folks to make sure they're adopting and not scared of losing their job because the technology is changing? So we deal with all of that on a day-to-day basis, as well as making sure our board and our stakeholders and community gets what they need.
Excellent. Thank you, Makita. Welcome.
And it's 10:42 here.
Excellent. Very good. Mike Sweeney.
Good morning. I'm Mike Sweeney. I'm Deputy Executive Director of the Toho Water Authority, which is based in Kissimmee, Florida, which is Central Florida. I have 40 years of utility and consulting experience and almost 20 years in asset management facets of it. A lot of change management interest, a lot going on here. You're all familiar with the problems of COVID, but everything else that goes along with asset management. I'm involved with leading, participating, and encouraging aspects associated with change management.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Mert.
Good morning, everyone. Mert Maftugil. I am in the asset management branch of Portland Water Bureau. So exactly, same time zone and the same garbage pickup schedule. So there is a background noise associated with that. So let's see, just a quick recap. So I've been doing asset management work for about 13 years with a private company before I moved the city. So I've been here for about 1.5 years now. And my main interest is, obviously I've gone through many implementations, so I know it takes a little bit of change management associated with everything that it touches, all the asset management related things. For us, my personal interest is that we are, like Makeda was saying, we are going through a new, we purchased a new enterprise asset management system. We're implementing that, and it's almost like a 20-year commitment. And I'd like to make sure that we do that right, and a lot of the roads lead to proper change management for that.
Excellent. Thank you, Mert. I love that we're both in Portland and I haven't met you, and I get to meet you in this format. So hear a lot about your work and what's happening in the Water Bureau, but super happy to have you here today.
Likewise, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Mia, do you want to go next?
Yeah, my name is Mia Pudamana. I'm with the Kansas City Water. I'm here to learn and also to support my teammates, Dan, Parijad, and Steve. We're going through a lot of organizational change, and I'm hoping I can learn and we get to work.
Excellent.
It's 9:44 here.
Excellent. Thank you, Mia. Appreciate it. Dan, Ott.
Good morning. As Mia mentioned, we work together here at KC Water in Kansas City. I am the project management section head in our engineering department, and I started here about 1.5 years ago. I've got about 15 years of experience with another utility here in the area, Johnson County Wastewater. And my role is or was a new role when I started, and so it's been change management from the get-go for me. And I've been working closely with our newest graduate engineers coming out of school and starting their careers and figuring out how to get them up and rolling here at KC Water, along with also looking at our project management processes and how we do project management here at KC Water, and working with all of our project managers and team leads as part of that. I'm also involved in the UAIM project initiatives related to project delivery, as well as CIP planning with our asset manager, Scott Parker. And so we're right in the mix of things and wanting to implement some changes. And I want to learn how to do that better. And what better way to do that than to join a group of great folks like you all. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Thank you. Okay, Ryan, we're almost through
Right.
here.
Hey, hopefully everyone can see me. I can't see anyone. I'm having issues with Teams today, but
Yeah, we can see you.
Good, awesome. Thanks for hosting, Don, and for everyone for being here. Ryan LoCicero, I work at Clean Water Services, so that's in Washington County, Oregon. I live in Portland sometimes. Currently, my computer says 7:46, but I'm on the East Coast, so it's 10:46. So currently in Florida. I go between Florida and Oregon, which was good the last couple of weeks that I'm here. Let's see. I really am excited about this group. You know, the work that I work on is my role as a business practice leader, and I work in strategy, performance, and innovation. So that's looking, we've developed our strategic approach, work in what we call de-escalation unit, which is our emergency operations center for COVID. So de-escalating from COVID. Work in innovation, also in our Clean Water Institute program, developing the strategy for that and other performance measures. So really, everything that I'm doing in my role is change management. So, or moving change through the organization. So yeah, really excited to be here and learn from everybody and share.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan. Tanya.
Good morning. This is Tanya Simmons. I'm with the City of Baltimore Bureau of Water and Wastewater. I work with Mr. Cabetti. I'm the operations manager for utility maintenance. I am very interested in learning success stories about change management. We currently have a lot of new things implemented due to COVID, operational requirements and procedures, and holding staff accountable. So I need to understand how to overcome the burden of getting the buy-in from the staff that it most affects, and clearly communicating some of the changes. Right now, no matter how many instructions you put out, there's still a breakdown in the communication. So I'm looking for success stories.
That's great. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, and maybe we'll have some less than successful stories that we can learn from so we can all be more successful, but welcome. Super happy to have you here today. All right, so Scott and Cello, we'll give you a few minutes to say hello.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. Scott Haskins, I'm co-principal investigator, and my role is to support the project. I guess I'll just refer back to Mike Sweeney, and I too have been, I consider myself a change agent in the water sector and in the industry for the last 40 years or so. And I'm really excited about this particular team and the UAIM project and supporting you all.
Excellent, thank you.
My name is Cello Vitasovic, and I'm the principal investigator. And I usually say that it's the utilities who are producing value, and I'm, if it was a golf game, they're the ones making the shots and doing the heavy work, and I'm just kind of trying to carry the bag and help them the best that I can. So I'm absolutely delighted to have all the talent at this table, and very much looking forward to working with you.
Excellent. Thank you, Cello. Thank you, everyone. And I really appreciate everyone sharing what their interests are, what a powerhouse of folks. And I also really appreciate folks who are able to put their videos on and connect with us. It's obviously we've got a great team. So I'm just going to review the agenda. I missed doing that at the beginning because of our technical problems, but we're back on track here. Thank you, Cello. So we've gone through our introductions, and the next item is to look at our proposed work plan, really the heart of this conversation and where we really want your feedback and input. Then we'll take just a few minutes to look at some sources and resources, references that have already been posted on the team site. Hopefully you've had a chance to poke around there a little bit, and then just really make a pitch for people to share their artifacts, share their documents, share things that will be useful to us. If we have any questions or discussion about that, we've got a few minutes to do that. We'll look at our action items for in 2 weeks, October 7th, and then wrap up in discussion. And like I said at the beginning, I'll promise to end 5 minutes early so you can all make a transition to your next activity. Some folks did sent a note that they have hard stops and they have to leave. Please take care of yourself, do what you need to do. We will adapt around you, and we're happy to have any time that you can devote to this. So thank you. So before we look at the work plan, actually, you can go to the next slide, Cello. And so we've got this PowerPoint is posted on our weekly update tab. We've just gone through the introductions. You want to go to the next slide, Cello? So the next topic for us is looking at our work plan, and this format. Well, before I get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about the purpose of this team and really making sure that people know that we know some folks have a lot of experience, some folks are coming in totally new and wanting to learn, and so we completely respect where you're coming from and want to create a space here in these meetings that you can ask questions and you can talk and you can put things on the table, and so the more interaction, the better. And I'll count on Cello and Scott to help me monitor the chat and hands raised, and but just don't hesitate to jump in, because we want everyone to have the airtime and to get your issues on the table. This has to be meaningful for you. We're all so busy. If this isn't helpful, you won't come, and we won't be successful. So I'm absolutely open to all ideas and suggestions about how to make this the most meaningful hour that you can spend on change management every 2 weeks. So please do keep us posted on that. So with that, I will launch into this outline for a work plan. And my understanding is that, so we're one of 3 teams. Hopefully you've all seen the orientation video and are familiar with the other 2 teams, organizational culture and workforce. So we're the change management team, and it's my understanding that everyone is more or less working from this proposed outline for a work plan. There are some nuances and some distinctions between the teams. And as we move forward, we're going to be looking at those distinctions, and we know there's overlap, right? We know that change management influences culture and vice versa. And so we'll ask for everyone's patience as we move through the conversation to help sort out what falls in what bucket. And maybe sometimes we need to join forces and look at something together. And I know, again, Scott and Cello will be paying close attention to that, as I will. I had thrown on the table the idea last week of perhaps putting together a short charter. We don't want to spend a lot of time on that. We don't want to belabor the point, but we do want to be clear about what our charge is and what our roles are and what we're not doing. So at some point we might have you review that, but we haven't finalized any of that. So in the meantime, what we have here is a very basic outline for a work plan that the other 2 teams are referring to as well. And it's kind of a classic kind of report structure here that can be absolutely expanded and modified and fit for purpose. We can make this what we need it to be. But I super appreciate Scott and Cello providing this for us as a starting point. And so I'll just go over these really quick, and then want to open it up for discussion and questions. I'm sure folks have questions about these pieces. So classic, starting out with kind of a literature review, looking at what's out there, what are the best practices, what are references that everyone needs to know about and look at, and that will help us zoom in on our scope. The second is looking at assessment methods. There are lots of different ways to come at change management, and we don't have to finalize one way. I think that we're open to definitely looking at different methods. And I know for me, whenever I take on a certain discipline or action, I like to look at different perspectives, and I like to have some different tools in my toolbox. And so depending on the circumstances, we can tap into different assessment methods. And then a topic that I'm really interested in and hope that we can have some great discussion around is maturity models, and looking at where we all are on this journey of change management, and how what our skills and capacities and capabilities are to implement change effectively, and really eager to hear people's stories of where they are on that continuum. The next piece, characteristics of effective change management. So define the methodologies and practices for an effective workforce. We want to make sure that we bundle all that up, and this is kind of what we're going to be giving the next generation of practitioners and people who will be tapping into this effort. So that's definitely a big component of this work. And then maybe the hardest part, but certainly where we have to put some attention, is what are the methods to close the gaps between the current state and the future desired future state. So looking at how those best practices are applied, and articulating that. So again, this is a very general outline that all 3 teams are using. I know that everyone is open to adapting. And I'd like to just open the floor up now for questions and clarifications for folks, and any ideas you have about how we might approach this. Ryan.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for providing this proposed outline for plan. To me, it feels like a syllabus for a course. That's my initial feeling that I get, and Cello probably has something to do with that doctor in front of his name, I'm assuming. But what I wanted to add to that is, do you see it like that? If so, would the materials kind of be provided and then we're kind of coming back and talking and discussing about that in like these biweekly sessions? If that is true or not. I'm also thinking that, so that's kind of the first question. The second is, would you see like a number 6 being like a case study, or we all have a project or something that we're working on and we're going to apply those, models or, the characteristics and things, use the tools to close the gaps?
Yeah, those are great questions. Cello or Scott, do you want to take a stab at it, or do you want to hear what my guess?
Well, you could go. You could go and whatever you like.
Okay, well, I guess I would just say that I don't think that the materials are necessarily going to be provided. I think that it's kind of on all of us to bring forward materials that we know about, but certainly there's a body of work that has happened already. And so I think Cello and Scott can point us to that work and point us to some materials, and then we can review it and ask and add as necessary. And I love the idea of adding a case study. I mean, maybe we would put it in the maturity model section. Maybe we would put it in, we could put a case study in a number of different places. So I like that idea. And I've heard Scott and Cello mention case studies. So let's add that to the list.
Cello, maybe you want to join in this, but as people know and others have referred to, there are parallel efforts going on, not just on the people side, but also on the improvement side. So Dan Ott, for example, mentioned project delivery and CIP planning and all, and we're dealing with a paradigm that's been established in the project where we identify what's your as-is set of processes and state, and then looking at what the to-be state is. And change management is about how do you get from, stage A to stage B. And so I think that there's some natural case studies and integration with some of the other improvement efforts that could be part of that item 6 that you're mentioning, Ryan. I do think that different, as Dawn stated, different organizations are at different places. And so the expectation isn't that everybody during this next 8 months is going to be developing case studies, for change management. But certainly, if you can apply case studies to specific, work that you're doing, that's going to be of great value to everybody to actually put it into action as well. Cello, a comment?
Yes. Well, it is true that I can get a bit academic at times, but the literature review was essentially trying to look at things that are being done in our industry or outside of our industry. So the I can, if you don't mind, Don, let me just switch to something else for a second. This is a list of references. If it's too small to read, let me know and I can try to zoom in. But basically, this is posted. You can get to this through Microsoft Teams or through OneDrive, but Microsoft Teams will get you directly into this folder, which is the list of publications or folders that have been put there for consideration, things that may be useful for us. For example, at the bottom, you can see that there's a folder for lean methodology and the folder on learning, which is a big part of change management. Most of this information comes from MIT. The other things are articles or reports, including WRF culture change research and white paper on leading transformational change. I know that each one of you has references that they've used that they found useful. So in that case, I would prefer that, or would suggest that it's there for us to find something that we can apply as quickly as possible, rather than sort of trying to reinvent the wheel or invent our own. As far as case studies, that is really the overall goal. The end goal for us is to make a change, make a positive change, save money, improve how people feel about their jobs, provide better quality products. So the change management case study would probably be best linked with an actual effort that would have an impact on metrics, and that would definitely be something we want to do in the future. Since we only have about 8 months for working for this project, I wasn't sure that we would be able to actually conduct one, but that would be a logical step after we figure out from literature review what kind of methodologies, what kind of assessment methods, what kind of maturity models are out there. And then when we put some guidelines together, put these guidelines to work on a specific kind of hardcore business problem. A lot of people here are dealing with asset management or maybe with operational technology. So we would love to have those. We just didn't think that we would be able to get it done within the 8 months, but I'd be delighted if we can.
Cello,
yes, sorry.
Cello and Don, we do have in the chat, we have a request actually by Ryan that you kind of just show people how to access this.
Okay. Let me just go there.
And while you're doing that, Cello, thank you, Scott. And while you're doing that, Cello, I'll just say, so I want to refine my language. I guess I had some version of what was right, but I'm learning too. There is a lot of content that has already been pulled together. So it isn't like we're starting from scratch and we need to cast a wide net and look, far and wide. This is a great start, but I also think each of us maybe have our own favorite or some resources that we know everyone would benefit from. And so there's absolutely an invitation to add kind of without a lot of effort. Like it's on your bookshelf, it's in your directories, and that you could add it. So I think we've got a great start, and I would encourage people, if you can quickly add things we need to consider, to go ahead and do that. But in respect to time, we're not spending 4 months on the lit review for sure.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So to answer the question where you can find this, the easiest way is if you go to the Microsoft Teams site, and you will see in the upper right corner, it would have to say 9D Analytics. You would click on this down arrow, and then one of them is going to be, it will be your, your company's teams. And when you click on 9D Analytics, you will get the channels that you have subscribed to. So everybody on this is subscribed to the Change Management channel. And Change Management channel has several tabs here. So the first tab is posts, and we can see that Don posted something last night. So this is really the place. One of the great benefits we're hoping to achieve is to really energize a peer-to-peer relationships and peer-to-peer communication. So this is where you can post messages that will go to the members of this change management team. Then there's a place that says files. This comes with Microsoft Teams. It's a default thing. I would prefer that we don't use it unless there's a special reason, because there's a better place to deal with documents. If everybody just puts stuff here, it'll be hard to manage. These are the tabs. From these 4 tabs on the top are the ones that I've created. And one is called Workspace. And Workspace will basically put us into OneDrive. We currently don't have anything, but anything that's kind of related to our work that doesn't fall into the next 3 categories, you can just drop here, because it'll immediately be posted to OneDrive and SharePoint. So it'll be structured and organized. So if you click on tab called References, you will get to the place where we've posted, and so far most of the stuff is by me, but everybody's invited to post and share articles that may be useful, that may be worth considering. And you will see that there are also folders. There's a folder on Lean that includes Kaizen checklist and an example of project charter and standard templates and overviews and stuff like that, if somebody's interested in that. Or you can just look at learning, and there are some valuable things about learning that are related to change management. And there are some articles there. So if you wanted to contribute something, you would just drag and drop it into this folder. So you would go to Teams, you go to References, and just drag and drop it here. The two sources that I find sort of useful is there's a Change Management Institute, so I have some stuff from them. Also, if you click on this that says Change Management Library, it will open up a spreadsheet that I showed earlier. There's a brief description of what's in each document or article or folder, and a link to the document. So you can use this as your index.
Chella, do you add, when you drop something in, do you add a note to that spreadsheet, or does that...
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention next. Sorry. Because I can try to do that and keep track what hasn't been added to, if somebody just dropped a file and didn't update the spreadsheet, I can look for that, but it would save me a lot of trouble and mistakes if people this is what the spreadsheet looked like. You would just add a line and say, it's a document type, it's an article, white paper, report, it's a standard, it's a survey, or whatever whatever it is. Yep. Then the document name, what's the source, the link to it. You don't have to deal with the link. I'll deal with the link. But if you just put the folder, the name, and some notes on what's there. So for example, this will say, agile, embracing agile method for IT system development to organizational change management. So this is from Harvard Business Review. Said, well, you can use this method from software development that would actually help you do change management. Or for example, this WRF report says introduces framework for achieving a cultural transformation and process probability capacity for change versus portfolio of activities, also applicable to organizational culture efforts. So these are things, these are things that may be helpful. So if you just enter that data here, it would be easier for everybody then to find things. But if you don't want to mess with adding the link, I can easily identify the ones that are without link and then just enter the link. Or you could add it in if you'd like.
Great, that's awesome.
So the next tab is called Utility Partner Shared Documents. So if you click on that, you will see a folder for each of the utilities who have expressed interest in this topic. So you would simply click on your organization and drag and drop whatever you want to share in there. And this could be like, well, we have internal guidelines for change management, or this is an example of a PowerPoint presentation that we did, or this is whatever you think would be useful for others. And I can say that in our previous efforts, this aspect of sharing documents utilities has found very valuable. And I also want to point this material that you post here will not become part of the report to WRF. It will only live here, and only people who are participating in the project will have access to it, will be able to share it and stuff like that. And I could show you that in previous efforts, people posted very, very valuable things. One of the people, one of the utilities told me, and they've been with this project since day one. They said if all we ever got from this project was this one document that saved us so much money from going out and hiring somebody to do this for it would be worth it. So whatever you think benefited you and it would be helpful to others, you can just put it in this folder. And then when we have these, and then the last, is biweekly updates. So if you come here, you will see that there's a Dawn's presentation right here. It's a link to the, it's also posted into OneDrive, which means that it's also organized in folders. It's not, we're not dumping everything to the same basket. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my version and just leave Dawn's version, and I'm going to post the video to this that we're making to this space. So from every meeting there'll be a video, and there will be a
PowerPoint.
A PowerPoint, yes, sorry. So does that answer your question, Ryan?
Yes, excellent. Great, thank you.
I put it in the chat, Cello. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
It's very nice, very clean. Thanks for setting it up and linking it to OneDrive. That's really good, connecting that. And then, but I need to sign in under the 3D Analytics because I'm under Clean Water Services, so I can't access it. So I'll do that next time, or I'll look at it after the call. So appreciate the explanation though, Cello. It's really helpful.
Yeah. Part of the problem that we faced in the first, we had hundreds, we had like 1,000 files and people say, oh, I can't find anything. So that's why we organized it this way. So if somebody really wants to dig into details, they can go, they can go there, but to OneDrive, but this made it a little bit more easy to deal with. So anyway, I probably spoke for too long,
No,
and we'll go back to Dawn.
Yeah, no, not at all. Thank you so much. That was really great. Do you want to go back to the agenda?
Yes.
And I'll just say while you're doing that, thank you, Ryan, for those great questions. You helped us. We covered items 3 and 4 on the agenda, so that's great. I do want to just ask if there are any questions. I'm going to keep the floor open here and just see if there are any additional clarifications or questions that you'd like today. Joseph.
Yeah, so I might be jumping ahead here, but I'll just out of curiosity, has anybody on this call used or tried to apply some of the change models that are out there? And if you do just a simple search on change management, you'll come up with Cotter's 8-step approach to change management, or you might have the Amoeba process or ADCAR. I mean, there's just a bunch of different options out there for organizations to use. And I just wanted to know if this call has actually implemented or tried to use one of those models to apply change.
Okay, so Makita has her hand raised, and someone else does. Let's see. Makita?
Yes, we currently the ProSci model and the GE sort of CAP model for different types of projects, but we use a combination of them based on what the needs are.
And Makita, just for clarification, that GE model is change acceleration.
Yep.
Which is a fairly, I know you guys, and I know Bijou in particular has applied that, for a number of years. So, I think that just in responding to the Joseph's question, I think what's important is to get those identified so that people can see them, and maybe we give some focus to it. So people see that, and there's not one right way of doing it, but making those available to to people through the site that we have.
Okay, I can definitely connect with Bijou about that, and that is key. With so many sort of chefs in the kitchen with all of our different projects, people have their own preferences and own models that they're used to from their own professional history. So we have had to sort of find a common ground in which model to use for which different projects. But I can touch base and share some of that information with you guys.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Joseph, maybe I can just add something. I'm familiar with the things that you mentioned. I was essentially posting these references for all three initiatives, and I remember specifically Cotter. I'm not sure, maybe I forgot to post it. And it would be very exciting once we accumulate, once people post, add to this list of references, to have a sort of like a mini workshops to discuss. So let's say if one utility used ADCAR and another utility used, change acceleration, ADCAR is the ProSci. I think it would be really good for them to say, okay, this is what that did for us. We used this methodology. These are the products that we had. This is what it did. Was it the good sides and the bad sides? Well, then agency B could say, well, we used such and such method, and this is what we found about it. So with a workshop like that, we could then identify and say, well, we can at least select the top two or something like that, or provide people some shortcuts so that they get some sort of immediate perspective from a utility person, from a peer, what it was like to apply that change management methodology. And you're right, there's a number of them. But that's exactly what we're trying to do, is try to use this group to kind of sort out what would be the best ones to recommend.
Totally agree. I think we're all trying to cross the bridge from academic to application. So that would really help everybody out if we could do that type of setup. Agreed.
That's exactly what we're thinking. And, this is sort of like our first working meeting. And we're already getting to stuff like, let's go start doing something right now, which is, I think, the best thing we could have on the first meeting, the best feedback,
Yeah, that's great.
So, Don,
Mert,
how are we doing on schedule?
We've got 5 minutes. Mert, you have your hand up?
Yes, so I wanted to just add a few focus areas from my perspective in this. So I would be also, while we're discussing these models, I would be interested in any tips or tricks that anybody might have that like we can use or other organizations can use if they don't have a dedicated, let's say, a change management or sort of an innovation office. So it's not really sort of like managed actively. But everybody, I'm sure, can chip away at this target in their daily works. But some tips and tricks would be nice. So I'll be thinking about those, and I encourage everybody else to do so. Another thing kind of brings me, that comment brings me to is, in particular, how the right organizational culture can actually help with easing some of the change management pains. So that alignment also is super important in my mind. And I'll be keeping that in the front of mind. It kind of also brings me to I guess I've been listening to a lot of economics podcasts recently, but incentivizing and how it can actually be important to, obviously, to this as a catalyst. So anything that has successfully worked to incentivize folks, I also want to almost like create a short list of things for this. So that was it. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's great, Mert. And I too have been a podcast junkie lately, and maybe we can even create a space to share those as well. There's so much good content out available to us today. Yosef, you still have your hand raised. I just want to make sure. Did you have anything else, or are you good?
Oh, that was a mistake. My bad.
No worries. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left. I guess we're off to a running start. I could tell this is a great group. We're ready to do some things. In terms of the next agenda, I will definitely consult with Cello and Scott and get something lined up. Any requests for the next meeting now that you want to put on the table? And if not, if you want some time to think about it, I'm thinking maybe on the interval Wednesday, like the next Wednesday, September 30th, I can put out a call for agenda items, and we can we'll have some ideas about what we want to do and next steps are, especially Scott and Cello, because they're working with the other two groups. But I also want to keep the communication line open in between meetings, and if ideas come up and things that you want to see, urgent questions, I'm happy to accommodate that. So please use the posts if you think of things after we hang up today.
Don,
I don't see anyone's hands raised. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in, and you've been part of this conversation, Don, is that one thing that the other groups have identified, and Don has picked up on, is can we get our arms around what constitutes change management versus the other people topics and even the improvement efforts, and how do those relate? And Don had an idea of just having a one-pager that call it a charter or call it a scope or whatever that really defines some boundaries around this and where the overlaps might be with the other groups.
So maybe we can do that as the next item. We could have a draft get that out a few days before and
Yep.
just take some quick comment. Again, don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I do think it's absolutely valuable to get that written down and to go back to it as needed. Great.
If that's okay, yeah, if that's okay with Don, I'll also send email to everybody with the meeting notes in addition to posting the video. And also, I may suggest some action items based on the notes, and when I re-listen to the things, action items for the next 2 weeks, so we can be ready to roll 2 weeks from now.
You're a superstar. That would be awesome. Very good. I don't know how we would do this without you. It's great. Well, I guess I think we're at the end of our time here, and I just really again want to say thank you for everyone joining us here and for our kickoff meeting. I think it's a great start. I again value all of your experiences and am really looking forward to working with you. I know BES has a couple of other folks that will be engaged in this conversation, so I'd likely will be bringing folks in from my organization and encourage you to do that as well. All right, any closing comments? If folks want to turn their video on, it's really nice to see your faces and to make the connection. I love the contributions that were made today, love the engaging conversation. I'll ask that you all take really good care of yourselves, your family and your staff, and I look forward to talking to you on October 7th.